Hey everyone, welcome back. So, I know I usually don't make videos like this, but recently, as you may know, the official Piggy book was released. After some thinking, I decided to make a community poll on it whether I should make a review on the book after I read it. And as of me writing this script right now, 88% of you said I should, so here we are. Before we start, I just want you guys to remember that this is my personal overall opinion of this book. You can agree with me, or you could disagree. You're entitled to your own opinion, but these are just my thoughts on the book. So I highly recommend picking up a copy of this book and reading it for yourself to see if you enjoyed it or not. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so overall, I'm gonna be completely honest. I have some very mixed feelings about this book. At some points, I really liked and enjoyed it, and at other points, I just didn't. Now, if I just rambled about my mixed thoughts on this book for the entire video, that would be kind of boring to watch. So, I'm gonna break down this book into two categories: the pros, what I liked about the book, and the cons, what I didn't like about it as much. So I'm going to start with the cons and then continue on with the pros. Now, this may actually come as a shock, but I wasn't very fond of the story itself. It's basically just the main Piggy book story with a few tweaks and changes in the form of a book. If you've already read it and don't see what I'm talking about, I'll give you an example. The story starts off with Ben going to Ollie's house to find him when the infection begins. When he gets there, surprise, surprise, he's attacked by an infected and escapes narrowly. He then goes to the station where Officer Doggy finds him. They run out of gas and get cornered in the gallery, where they escaped and go to the forest. Doggy gets infected, someone on a radio informs Ben about his friend. He goes to the school to find them. He meets a new friend. They go to the metro. They make a sacrifice to save Ben. There. Ben goes to the carnival where he meets two new friends. You get the point. Really, the only difference is the hospital map isn't included. But let's be real. No one really likes the hospital map. Also, most of the characters are just replaced with either completely new characters or just different characters who already existed. Although I didn't mind the story a ton, something that bugged me the entire time I was reading the book was the pictures. The main problem with these illustrations is most of the time they aren't even representing what's going on in the story. For example, at the beginning when Ben is attacked, the text describes the infected as a pig and not whatever this thing is. Another example is when Doggy tases the wolf and Ben is cornered. I'm sorry, sir, but that is not a wolf. That is a dog if I've ever seen one. Though, it's not just that the pictures don't usually represent what's going on in the story that bugs me, it's that they're not scary. The infected in the story are described as tall, tough, scary, and monstrous beasts, yet in the pictures, they look like huggable plushies if I'm being completely honest. So I debated if the characters should be in the story section or have their own section, but I ultimately decided that characters are a big part of a story and need their own section. Now I'm just going to get to the elephant in the room out of the way. Character development. A lot of the characters in this book barely even got to stick around for any time at all, which makes it difficult to understand them for who they are and develop feelings for them. For example, Sally. She was only in the story for about 23 pages. Now that sounds like a lot, but if you put it in retrospect, it's really not that much. With that said, I'm going to quickly talk about something I noticed that I don't think many other people will. I feel like the relationship between Ollie and Ben isn't the relationship of two best friends. It feels more like the relationship between George and us, the player, rather than the friendship between two best friends. It makes the story more complicated, in my opinion. Now, usually description is highly used in books to really capture the feel of what's going on in the story. So you may be wondering, Billy, what's this book's description any different? Well, for the past almost 3 years of Piggy, we haven't really had any description of anything. Where we are, what the city of Lucella is like, what the characters are like, how the infected act, etc. And with this book, we finally get some background info on that. For example, as told in the book many times, the infected like to sleep a lot. Also, unlike the bland AI in the game, the book actually shows that the infected are somewhat intelligent. After reading this book with this new knowledge about the world of Piggy, it gives us a new view of what inner city could look like. So, earlier in the video, I was complaining about how the entirety of the story is just Piggy's story, copy and pasted into book form with only a few minor changes. But I have to give credit where credit is due. I do like the changes that they did make to the story to not make it entirely a ripoff, such as instead of having the infected in the station Mother Piggy, it's a bloodthirsty wolf, which I think sounds really cool. I also like how instead of the main character being a police officer, Ben is just a normal kid who's unknowing to the infection looking for his friend. Another change that I think could change the entire course of these books for the better is the fact that the TSP are good guys, along with Billy and Badgie being uninfected. So, although I don't like most of the story itself, I do like the changes they made to make it somewhat unique. So you may be confused hearing the topic future in this video for the pros. I'm gonna explain. Piggy only has 24 chapters in the game, counting book 1 and book 2 only, not the bonus chapters. If the author Terrence Crawford really wanted to make these books a full-fledged series, he's going to need to get creative. In the next book, I'm guessing that the story for book 2 will be covered, but then after that, there's nothing else to go off of. Meaning the only choice will be to make up an entirely original continuation. This could not be the case, and the next book will just skip the book 2 story, which I'm totally okay with too. I just want to see a continuation to this book that isn't the entire Piggy story in book form. So everyone, now that I've said everything I need to about this book, in conclusion, I'm not too sure if I like this book or I don't. There are things I really enjoyed and there were things I wasn't very fond of. But like I said at the beginning of the video, I highly suggest picking up a copy of this book for yourself so you can conclude your own opinion and feelings about this book. Anyways guys, I think that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!